As promised, we're back with part 21 of our 45 RPM vinyl records A through Z collection here at My Media Museum. And we're picking up with George Harrison's What Is Life, the third big hit off of that All Things Must Pass album that he did shortly after leaving the Beatles. And the B-side was a song called Apple Scruffs. And that finishes up our George Harrison's. So moving on, we've got George Thorogood, Bad to the Bone. Probably his biggest song ever. Somebody wrote #1 on there. I wouldn't be surprised if this hit #1 on the charts, but it might just be someone's favorite song too. And the B-side of that was No Particular Place to Go live version. So this makes this a special 45 to have. He did do a studio version of No Particular Place to Go. I'm not entirely sure it was on the Bad to the Bone album, but I do know that he did record that song in the studio as well. But it's nice to have a live version. And that is the old Chuck Berry song. That's not a... George does a lot of covers. A lot of covers. Even One Bird, One Scotch, One Beer is not his. You know, a lot of his biggest songs are just cover songs. But he does a great job of them. George is an amazing performer, and I love George Thorogood, and he's done a lot of great stuff. Here we've got I Drink Alone. Yeah, with nobody else. And on the B-side of that, here we go, another cover, Willie and the Hand Jive, which Eric Clapton probably did one of the most famous cover versions of that song, but George did his version as well. Wish I had more George Thorogood 45s to share with you, but that's it for now. And we're moving on to George's Satellites, which I'm pretty darn positive this got covered in the picture sleeves videos that were posted up on the channel late last year. But we're going to show it to you again. You'll notice this label's in pretty bad condition as far as the way it was affixed. It's also nearly impossible to read because of that silver on bright red, but keep your hands to yourself. Don't tell me no lies and keep your hands to yourselves. And the B-side of it, there again, very difficult to read. Can't stand the pain. All right. And next up, we've got another picture sleeve, which I do not remember showing this picture sleeve when filming all of the picture sleeves from the random boxes that I had pulled out. So this one's a nice addition. I wasn't going to go through the A to Z collection and pull out picture sleeves and do them separate. They didn't generate a lot of interest anyways when I did do that. I just wanted to film them as we went because the whole idea here is we're going A to Z. So Battleship Chains being on the A side, and the B side is a song called Golden Light. If you can make it out, if I get it in the light just right. Yeah, that silver lettering on dark is really, really bad idea somebody had, and they kept it going for years. So apparently not everyone shares my opinion that that was a bad move. Here we got Jerry Rafferty doing Baker Street. And the B-side of that is Right Down the Line, which I do remember having a picture sleeve of Right Down the Line. This is a Spotlight series, so it's a reissue where they've done a double A side. The original Right Down the Line did not have Baker Street on the B side of it. But Baker Street's another great song of his, so that's a double A, well worth 50 cents. No doubt about that. So next up, we've got Gladys Knight and the Pips. Midnight train to Georgia, leaving on the midnight train to Georgia. And the B-side there being, Dual 45, Side B, Midnight Train to Georgia, the 355. And Side A, Midnight Train to Georgia at 355. So I'm not entirely sure if there's any difference between these two sides at all. They're calling it a dual 45, but it seems to have the exact same song with the exact same timings on both sides. And that's not something I normally have seen Buddha records do. So that's an interesting one. Now I got a little bit of static crackle on that. I don't know if you heard that or not, but that disc actually popped when I went to put it up here. I heard it snap. So if you heard it, that's what it was. It was the static electricity coming off of that disc, zapping my finger. So here we got Glenn Frey. I do believe it's Frey, but I've heard it pronounced Fry as well. The Heat Is On from Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack. And on the B side of that is Harold Faltermeyer's Shootout, which is a musical number right off the soundtrack. So it's not something that Glenn had anything to do with. He just did the Heat Is On song. So that 45 is off of the soundtrack, not off of one of his albums. So next we've got a track records, and this is Golden Earrings, original version of Radar Love. Called the Radar Love, we got a light in the sky. Radar Love. That and Twilight Zone's probably their two biggest hits. The B-side here being Just Like Vince Taylor. I'm not entirely sure who Vince Taylor is or what he was known for, but got this for Radar Love. And here is their Twilight Zone. Am I tripping into the Twilight Zone? Which I thought was interesting because I saw them open up for Rush, and Rush did a song called Twilight Zone on the B-side of 2112. This is a completely different song, of course. But the B-side of this one is called King Dark. And yes, they did play this song. They played Radar Love and they played Twilight Zone, probably at every concert they did. But that's how they closed out their set when I saw them with Rush on the Signals tour. All right, here we've got Gordon Lightfoot. Sundown, you better take care if I find you creeping around my back stairs. And the B-side being Too Late for Praying. And I certainly wish I had Record the Edmund Fitzgerald on a 45, and I seem to think that I do, and I may have already filmed it in one of the mixed boxes, but it's not here in this box. I've got another copy here that somebody wrote all over, and the big thing here is, as we've shown on some of the other videos recently, the font is different. Much bigger, darker font here on this version than on this one. You see, it's Too Late, Praying, much smaller. So you don't really notice it so much on the Sundown, but it is bigger and bolder on this copy. So one of them's clearly from a different run. Since this notes the album that it's from, and this one doesn't, my guess would probably be that this was the first release and they added that extra album. Well, no, it does. It states it over here on the other side. They moved it from one side to the other. So that's interesting. Hard to say which one came first, the chicken or the egg. Don't know. All right. So here we've got an original from the Childhood Collection. But you will notice Grand Funk's The Locomotion, which this is at least the second, if not third, version of this song. I think Little Eva did it originally. I like Grand Funk's version, and I remember hearing one from one of those pop stars in the 80s did it as well. I'm sure it's been done quite a few times. But as I was talking about my sister stealing one of my Boston 45s, I stole this one from her because that's her childhood signature there on her record. And turnabout's fair play, man. You steal mine, I'll steal yours. But no, seriously, sis, if you're watching this and you want this 45 back, just say the word. I'll mail it off to you because, hey, I've got other copies now. But you'll notice it also doesn't say Railroad. It's just Grand Funk, Destitute and Losing being on the B side. So they started out Grand Funk Railroad, and at some point they decided to drop the Railroad and just go by Grand Funk. And next up, We've got another one that's just saying Grand Funk off of the We're an American Band album. We're coming to your town, we'll help you party down, walk like a man. And the B-side being a song called The Railroad. Grand Funk, The Railroad. Grand Funk Railroad doing The Railroad. Interesting, Yeah. All right, so moving on. If it's on ABC Downhill Records, believe it. The Grassroots, sooner or later, love is gonna find you. Sooner or later, I can turn off the rain. That would be a talent to have now, wouldn't it? All right, and then we've got a picture sleeve here. Grover Washington Jr. Just the two of us from his album Wine Light. And I don't see a huge, tremendous amount of difference between the front and back. Oh, well, yeah, I guess it is. This is just the wine glass on the back cover. But here's the 45 label itself. Just the two of us. We can make it if we try. And then the B-side being Make Me a Memory, Sad Samba. Okay. All right. So we've just got a couple more here to finish up this box. I think we're going to have to hold one or two over for the next video. But the Guess Who doing Bus Rider from Share the Land. I really like that song. It's a little damaged, so you know, but it does say Bus Rider. We got some of that stackerware there. Whoa, banging the camera around. Sorry about that. And the B-side being Share the Land. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this one up right there, and we'll save the next two. I've got two Guess Who's, and one of them's got something a little special about it, a little different. So you'll have that to look forward to in part 22. Come on back. We'd love to see you again. Have a great day.